Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Ricky with Learn Plan Profit. Hope you guys are all having an amazing Wednesday. I'm going to be talking about a mistake that I made yesterday that I should not have made, and I 100% knew it, and I called it out as well. It's just I got a little bit too hyped up. As you get to see, it's not a huge deal when it comes down to overall like percentage loss. Thinking about it in that perspective. But one thing that I did yesterday, and I'm gonna give it a couple seconds for everyone to start tuning in. So once we are live and you can see me and all that good stuff, be sure to give me a thumbs up right here in the live chat that you can see, or that I have on the right hand side. You might have on the left hand side. So just let me know when you guys are all set, and I'd be happy to do it. So, all right, thumbs up, thumbs up. Perfect. All right. So, all right. So what I wanted, okay, so first of all, these glasses, again, I have an eye infection, and that's why I'm wearing them. I, first of all, don't ever wear glasses, so that's just so you guys understand that I don't want you guys to have to be distracted by what's going on behind the glasses. But um, what I did yesterday was I took a position on UYAS, and I called it out when I broke above the middle view up. We called it out beautifully, and it was an amazing call out with the break above the middle view up, and that uptrend pattern that it had showing. I had a dingleberry moment, and I think I was going live, and when I was going live, I was too, again, distracted, regardless of what the case like is. I had my limit order to sell at 64.50. Ended up peaking out at a little bit above $64, and then got rejected, and then started seeing a downward trend. I even should have covered it recovered a majority of it right before the market closed, and I did not. Right, and that's a huge mistake that I made. The reason why is because like you guys was actively trending down on this 180-day EMA. And one of the things that we were talking about yesterday in the TechBud Solutions chat was that, natural gas had a sell-off. It found a support right around this area, and it definitely can continue. Natural gas has been showing a very consistent sign of this upward staircase pattern. But because I bought in as a day trade, I should have fulfilled my trade as a day trade. Okay, so people are saying that it's echoing. Give me 1 second. All right. Let me know how it sounds now. But that's pretty much it. It was actively trending down below this 180-day EMA, the 4-hour EMA, right? And it has not broken its pattern. That's not the case. Like, should I cut losses now? I definitely can, and it's because it's trading in between the middle and bottom VWAP. I'm trying to give it the benefit of the doubt and see if it has the potential to recover since it's trading above the EMA line and it's trying to show signs of an uptrend. Like, I like that, and I'm going to set my alert here. But the biggest mistake that I made yesterday, and again, it's not a huge mistake because of my entry at 610, right? My entry at 610, what is that? Entry at 611, I apologize, to where it's at right now, I'm down about like 1.3%. That's not a big deal, right? Actually, it should pop up. It says I'm down $685, but that's not the case. I don't know why this thing changed. So I'm down $435 for my actual position. I was up about 240 or 260, something like that, when the market closed like that. And that's why it's saying on the day I'm down that much. But altogether, right, I'm down a little bit over $400, let's say $500, when I was up nearly $500 in a matter of minutes. And the reason that I'm saying this is because of my mistake. I want you guys to learn from it. Yesterday, we had a killer day, right? With my position on LABD alone, it was $1,400 profit for those that were able to follow up with it. I closed it at $1,000, and then I traded it once again, and I was able to close it at $1,400, right? So then I took a position on UGAS, and this is and let me know if this has ever happened to any of you. It has to have. where you're having such a great day that you feel or become somewhat like too confident with your overall trades, right? You guys have to have 100% have been there. I was not looking at everything that I should have when it came down to my position on UGAS. And the reason that I say that is my idea, and again, my simple little mistake, my idea of it made sense on why to sell at the top VWAP, right? It made sense to me. Like that's not the mistake. The mistake was I did not look at the correlating future. And this is why it's so important, because do you see how I got rejected at $64 when I thought it was going to get rejected at $64.50 because of this middle VWAP? Look at /NG. Where's that? My goodness. So look at /NG. And the initial time that it got rejected, right? The initial time that it got rejected was right around that middle VWAP. And then it broke above it and it really started to consolidate above the middle VWAP. It like really struggled, right, to break above that price point. Me seeing that, okay, it's right around the middle VWAP and it's not really confirming a full-on uptrend should have been a huge red flag when I can go back to UGAS, right, and then look at the overall pattern and be like, okay, it makes sense on why it's getting rejected right around, this $63.50, $64 price point, because again, the actual correlating future itself is hitting somewhat of a resistance. Does that make sense? So I could have seen that form of resistance and could have understood that and covered profits. And when I was going live on the TechBit Solutions live chat, I was speaking to them and I was like, okay, I should have 100% noticed that. And then I saw it pull back, and then it pushed right back up again. And I was like, hey, maybe I think I could break above $64. You want to know what another issue was? I was up $1,415 on my LEBD position. I was up like 485 on my UGAS position. And the mistake that I made was that I wanted to break $2,000 profit. And I had that dollar value in my mind when that had no correlation to my overall, to the overall pattern that I was investing in. And you guys might be saying, well, Ricky, you're throwing a bunch of stuff at us. Yesterday was a day that I made a good amount of mistakes, and that's why I just wanted to share it with each and every single one of you, because it led me to, and this is one of the worst feelings, and this is why I don't need you, I don't want you guys to ever do this. And it's going to happen, but it's just so you guys can learn from my mistakes. That when you are green, and when you're green a couple $100, and then it goes from green to red a couple $100, right? So you go from being green and making money to being red and losing money. And it's a couple $100 that you're now losing money when you could have actually just covered profits, bought the dip, right, on UGAS if you would have still seen potential, and then made all that recovery back up. And again, I'm done talking about it. I just wanted to share my opinion when it came down to what I could have done better. And let me just recap. I could have looked at all the correlating. All right, so you guys just broke above. So you guys just broke above the middle VWAP. That's in my favor, right? So right now, so far, I'm down $322 on my overall position since my entry. And I could have focused on exiting much more efficiently. I could have been less distracted. I could have looked at the correlating futures and made sure that I understood where the resistance was at, right? And then I could have not focused on the dollar value that I wanted to make, because it doesn't matter how much money it is that I want to make. It matters the pattern that I focus on and where the certain support and resistance levels are according to that pattern. And if I go and base my trade based on I want to make $100 today and I don't sell because I haven't made 100, the patterns, the stocks, the ETFs, they don't care, right? They have no correlation to the dollar value that we're making. And let's make sure that we minimize the amount of times that we make that mistake. So it doesn't mean that it's never going to happen, but it just means that we could have done something a lot better, and it would have been a lot more efficient. So for all those that are always questioning, maybe I shouldn't cover profits due to maybe potential opportunity costs, then you guys can take this into consideration where, again, I was up And again, it doesn't always play according to plan, especially when the overall big charts for the 180-day 4-hour are showing signs of a descending pattern. I should have stuck to my day trade plan, and I didn't. I broke it, and then now instead of making money, I lost a little bit of money. And yeah, so just made $300 on US, batted 61. And look, Austin is a perfect example of what I should have done. I should have covered profits here. I should have bought the dip, just like he did, and then have sold it for a profit, right? And right away, $300. I could have made $400, nearly $500 yesterday, $300 today. And altogether, there was actually a line that Lupo said yesterday. He's one of our members within the main Technical Solutions chat. And he says, no one goes broke by locking in profits. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, does that make sense? Like, by locking in profits, like, more people lose money, obviously, by not covering profits and being greedy. So no one goes broke by locking in profits. And it's something to take into consideration, next time that, you're put in that situation where, like, okay, should I cover profits or should I not? Just know that big picture, it's much more efficient to cover profits. Yeah, sometimes you will miss out on some stuff, but overall, I think you should be good. Yeah. Now, again, for those that are just tuning in right now, the reason that I'm wearing glasses is due to my eye infection, and I didn't want you guys to have to be like looking at my eyes. Brandon, I agree. So Brandon saying trading stocks while on several medications might not help someone make the sharpest decisions. Just saying. I agree. I'm not on too much medication right now. But yeah, I agree. Definitely, being in the right mindset makes a lot of sense. So, all right. What's going on, Jake? Jake the Flying Snake. What's up? So for the first live, looking forward to it. Can't wait. All right, sounds good. So right now it looks like we have you guys trying to really break above the middle VWAP. Let's look at /NG real quick, and then we can move on from there. So we can see that the overall middle VWAP for /NG is right around that 2.885 price point. So watch out for a potential rejection or confirmation above that price point. So is /NG going to be actively trading up or down, right? And that's something that we can set our alerts for. There we go. Ricky, do you ever sleep? Every time I'm on my PC, you're on your live stream. I do sleep. I sleep about, yesterday I slept pretty well. I slept about 5 hours. But I normally sleep about 3 to 4 hours a day. Is there a natural gas report today? Natural gas reports, I believe, are on Thursday, if I'm not mistaken. And, right, if I'm not mistaken, right, it should be, yeah. Yeah, LABD did have a massive sell-off, so I'm really happy to hear that I was able to cover profits on that. Where is LABD? It's not even here anymore. One thing that I wanted to talk about is this overall idea of JNUG. JNUG and JDST, they've been very confusing because they've been consolidating for a very long period of time. It looks like what's it called? JNUG is trying to reverse back up. It's trying to break above that overall 180-day EMA, but I don't know how. Like as of right now, it's trying to, right? And there's nothing that we can say against that. But I don't know. I just with the overall pattern that like JDST has to offer, it does show somewhat of a peak formation, but also it could show signs of a potential bounce. And then looking at /GC. It shows on why it can potentially get rejected at around this price point due to that SMA indicator and this descending pattern. But also it's doing a very good job holding above the EMA line and showing signs of a continuous uptrend. Yeah. All right. So drip once again showing signs of a descending pattern. So I'm going to remove that from the active watch list since it's no longer actively trending up. We got DGAS as of right now. DGAS should be showing signs of a little bit of a pullback, right? Trading in between that middle VWAP and that EMA line and that bottom VWAP. USLV, if I'm not mistaken, yeah, USLV should be showing signs of an uptrend. I followed up with /SI, and that was showing signs of a pretty consistent uptrend, which is its correlating future itself. So we can see that it's showing signs of this potential reversal, probably going to move up to that middle VWAP. So for all those that are interested in something that might start to actively trend up, again, a very consistent pattern is when it does break above this EMA line, it tends to peak out at around like the 1020, maybe $10-30 price point. It doesn't offer huge margins, but it's something to maybe keep a close eye out for. Even if you don't even trade it, just try to write it down on paper what you think would happen and what your plan would be for that specific ticker itself. So you guys, again, trying to hold above that middle VWAP. I don't know how well it's going to do to actually hold above it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set my alert if all of a sudden it starts to pull back or if it starts to break resistance levels. So T-Mobile intraday is starting to show signs of an uptrend. Again, T-Mobile has been consolidating for a very long period of time. Looking at it, the 1 day 1 minute chart, honestly, it provides a pretty solid spread where it could almost become somewhat attractive for a day trade. It offers about that 1 to 2% potential, which is pretty crazy for a multi-billion-dollar company, right? T-Mobile's, yeah. So definitely showing signs of an uptrend right now. Just understand that close to that $57 price point is where it normally tends to have a resistance, and it's trading in between the middle and top VWAP, which is something that we find very attractive on being able to buy the dips and sell the peaks. But obviously for T-Mobile, those margins aren't very huge. Let's see how this is doing. I don't know why I have this one. This one should be under this. Oh, it's because it was actively traded up. Okay, so DVAX is no longer there. KEM. Showing signs of an uptrend. This one pushed up pretty nicely today. Let's look at the 20-day analysis. Sweet. It looks a little bit overextended for my taste. Did just break above the SMA indicator. Definitely does look a little bit overextended though for my taste. So I would wait a little bit more for a pullback, bouncing closer to the SMA, the EMA indicator, and then finding a better entry at that price point as it continues that uptrend pattern. So, but congrats to all those that have been already able to take a position on that specific stock itself. Ticker symbol MB. A little bit of a lower volume stock itself, showing signs of an uptrend pattern, and there goes UYAS. Now DYAS is something that is showing signs of a potential uptrend, and UYAS is pulling back a little bit more aggressively. I think I'm going to start to the heck happened there? I did pull back and then it pushed right back up again. I might want to consider the idea of covering some. Yeah, so I'm down $265 on my overall position. Maybe covering some of my losses, and then if it dips, then if it starts to reverse, then I don't have to worry about that sell off too aggressively. All right. I'm done breaking down my stocks in all honesty with what it is that I was looking at and stuff like that. It's really JNUG and JDST that I find to be the most attractive, but they're very difficult right now, I think, to understand which one's going to be the one that's going up, which one's the one that's going to be going down. And then when it comes down to USLV and DSLV, I see much more value in USLV, and then following up with something like UGAS and DGAS. I think it needs a little bit more time, just because again it had a sell-off today and it's still trying to recover, but it's doing a pretty good job for that recovery. So give me 1 second and I'm going to start breaking down your guys' stocks. I just need to blow my nose real quick. Whoa. Sweet. Okay. Broke above the middle VWAP. Wow. All right. You guys' comments. All right. So as of right now, if you guys have posted anything, please copy and paste whatever your call out is. But please, and I need you guys to understand this. Please, if your call out is not actively trending up above the 180-day EMA, please refrain from calling it out. Please refrain from posting it. If it's not actively trending up on the 180-day EMA, and if it's showing signs of a descending pattern, please do not post it. If it's showing signs of a descending pattern, please do not post it. If it's actively trending up, great. I would love to break it down. Let's focus on quality. And that doesn't mean that you need to find something to call out, because if you don't see value in anything, then you don't have anything to call out, and there's nothing wrong with that. So let's just try to focus on quality and kind of go from there, if that's okay. No, it's actively trending down as well. Sorry, bud. So Gush is pushing up, and again, let's just focus. So Gush, I think it's still a little bit too early to tell, but Gush is definitely showing signs of a reversal. If this pattern continues, then it definitely does make sense on why it would continue to uptrend. Today's the first green day, so again, let's not get all riled up just on one green day. Let's try to be, calm, cool, and collected. Set your alerts maybe for the break above 40 or some form of pullback confirmation when it comes down to Gush. I think it's great if you want to focus on it as a day trade, then being able to trade it in between the middle and top VWAP. That makes 100% a lot of sense. But for a swing trade, I still think it's a little bit too early to tell, in my honest opinion. So because of that, yeah. So that's what I would view it as. So CP, again, asking yourself, is this one actively trending up above the EMA? Great, yes. But Kevin, one thing that I do want you to understand is that it does have a general resistance right around this specific price point. So then you ask yourself the second question, right? If you guys are new to Learn, Plan, Profit, one thing that you'll be able to see under the Start Here section is that it has my trading profile, and you should have and build your own. Does it mean right away, if you're just getting started, that you'll be able to build your own? No, but it's your criteria checklist. And one thing is ensure that you are getting a good deal, that it's oversold. It's more on the oversold side. This is not oversold, right? This is definitely more on the overbought side, and the margin of profit that it has left to cover is very minimal, right? So it wouldn't make sense for this to be, such a great deal, because it's not. So that's why, again, it is actively trending up, but it's not a good deal, and the margin of profit is not there for me. So that's why I would have to stay away. GRPN by Aaron. What's going on, Aaron? So GRPN, wow, huge sell-off. Doing a lot of consolidating right around this SMA line. That's great, but it is struggling to show signs of an uptrend. So right now it's right around $4.68. I would really like to give this thing time. It definitely shows signs of a potential uptrend, but it also shows signs of huge volatility and pullback. So what I would say is set your alerts for certain breaks of resistance levels and make sure that it's steady, right? Like a steady increase, steady growth. So as it continues that, so JCPenney's just went above, so JCP just went above $2.41. So I'm going to set my alerts here and then follow up with it. I still think it's a little bit too early to tell, and the risk is a little bit too high for my taste. ESV. ESV is still actively trending down. Yes, it is trying to push up, but it's still actively trending down below that 180-day 4-hour EMA. And again, that is with the length that I have set up. Right now it is pushing up again, but it's still, I think, a little bit too early to tell. You could tell that other times it's trying to push up and then it gets rejected. You know, the MACD indicator is in its favor. The RSI looks like it's in its favor. I would set your alerts for more of a solid break of resistance and then follow up with that one. I would treat it more as a day trade than rather a swing trade as of where it's at right now. Sweet. So TELL showing signs of an uptrend, overall resistance right around $12. Again, asking yourself, is this thing actively trending up? Yeah, it is, right? It did have a sell-off and it is trying to push right back up. Again, it 100% can get rejected right around this $12 price point. With where it's at right now and $12, it offers about a, almost an 8% margin. That's great to take into consideration. Also, you just have to ask yourself, are you getting the best deal? And that is where this comes into play. You're not getting the best deal, but it does have this margin of profit. So because the risk is a little bit higher with you buying at such a higher price point, because it normally trades between this range of like $9 to $12. Again, you're buying right around $11 to $12. That's relatively pretty high. So with that understanding, I would really keep a close eye on the pattern itself and your position size, just because the risk is a little bit higher in that perspective. So yeah. SFIX. Showing signs of a downward pattern. Again, we do have our alerts for the overall reversal and watch out for the earnings report. So right now it's not actively trending up, so let's make sure that we focus on what's actively trending up. Wow, there's a lot of callouts. Oh, JCP, Kevin calling out something that is, let's see if this one's actively trending up. Strong descending pattern. Yes, it does show the potential for this thing to push up and potentially get rejected by the SMA indicator. I think the reason that I set my alert on this one was due to one of our members wanting to follow up with it. Altogether, I personally would not invest in this. The reason why is it offers a descending pattern and the risk is a little bit too high. If I were to invest in it, instead of taking my normal $15,000 to $30,000 position, I would probably take a $5,000 position due to the overall pattern and risk that JCP has to offer. Yes, it does have a pretty decent margin, and I get that, but also the risk is that much greater because of that aggressive descending pattern. So just something to take into consideration. Oil U. All right, so Oil U is still actively trending down. We'll call this out, Greg. So it's still actively trending down below the EMA line. Again, it's even below the SMA line. Let's set our alerts for the overall reversal and go from there. I really need you guys to focus on what's actively trending up. One of the biggest questions that I get is, Ricky, I continue to lose money in my account. Then focus on stocks that are currently and actively trending up, not trying to pinpoint the reversal before the confirmation. Like stop trying to guess when it's going to reverse and actually just wait for the confirmation. Can't see with these dang glasses. Oh, it's CIF, but strong descending pattern. I don't even want to break that one down. Come on, guys. We really need to do a better job with these callouts. Okay, so again, this is still a pending reversal. No confirmation. Again, 3 stages in a reversal. There's the rejection, there's a consolidation, and then the actual confirmation, right? Right now, it's still in the rejection phase. It's going to consolidate maybe for 1 or 2 days, and then it's going to begin to push up. I'm going to set my alert for the break above around this general area. And then we could follow up with it from then. So thank you again. Just as of right now, it's not actively trending up, so there's no reason to focus too much attention to it. All right, so we got someone that call out Crocs. Yep, Crocs is 100% actively trending up, but again, is it a good deal? It would make more sense for Crocs to peak out even at $18. Let's say it goes up to $18. That margin is still not worth it for me. It's way overextended. It would make more sense to wait for a sell-off closer to this SMA line and wait for the reversal, the consolidation, and then the reversal and the confirmation, and then that would make much more sense for a better entry. All right, thank you, Dylan. Of course, I'd love to check it out. So BNet, yeah, just doing a lot of consolidation. Yesterday we did follow up with this one. I don't know if you were able to tune in, Dylan, but what we said is I set my alert for the break above $6.50. Remember we talked about 3 different stages of a reversal, right? First of all, you have to understand this descending resistance, right? This horizontal support, and right now it is struggling to confirm that uptrend, and it needs to start making higher highs. That's why I set my alert there. So one thing that I want to do is waiting for the confirmation of that reversal, just because right now this would almost be a waste of time to invest in this as it's just continuing to consolidate within this general area. So that's what I would wait out for. Even if you want to day trade it, then you can try to day trade it as in that, but as of right now, it just wouldn't make too much sense. So it looks like you guys just broke above $63. I'm down $45 on my overall position. There we go. Definitely pushing up. Sweet. I already covered profits on Gush. That's really nice to hear, Timothy. I don't know, Rico, when you're saying why it has potential, I don't know what ticker you were calling out. I do apologize. Holy moly. Whoa. Went from, what the heck? That's pretty sweet. All right. Now looking at previous resistance levels, or where it could get close to previous resistance. $100%. Does it look to be at a certain price point where it can get rejected? Of course. It's at the top VWAP, which can show signs of a potential, like rejection or overall pullback for you guys itself. So give me one quick second. Let's see. All right, guys, give me one quick second with the callouts. I'm gonna set my. So what I do here is I do the options sell, right? Or like it's a command on my computer. It's not an actual option or anything like that. Like you could just put it to sell, right? These are my actual shares. So I'm just gonna click edit, and I can look at my overall number of shares. I have 500 shares. So then I'm just gonna click over here very quickly, put sell 500. I'm gonna change this to overall limit order, right? And what I'm gonna do, what I normally do, is I'm gonna put it at like 63, let's say just 99, right? So it's gonna be like way up here. But the reason why is I'll show you right now in just a second. Actually, I'm gonna want to sell pretty much right now. And the reason why is it just got rejected. Do you see this double top that it did right now? Got rejected. So what I want to see or the reason that I do this is sometimes even when I put a limit order to buy, I put the limit order below my actual desired entry, like way below it, so I can drag and drop it, right? So I can drag and drop anywhere it is that I want to sell it. So if I wanted to sell it at that price point of 63.34, then I could have just dropped it there and have sent it, and then if if there were buyers at that specific price point, then I would have gotten filled. Does that make sense? And there goes a sell-off. Pulling back right to that intraday EMA line, showing pretty nice. And again, that's why it could have been nice for those that can day trade a little bit more aggressively to have sold at the resistance, bought in the support. And it's not huge margins or anything like that, but it's just the idea of being able to understand where to sell and where to buy, even if you can't even do it. All right, I'm going to continue to break down stocks. What's going on, Jack? Whoop, whoop. So Siri. So again, SIRI definitely showing signs of an uptrend, but way overextended. Not looking like a deal, so that's why I would personally stay away. It would make more sense to set my alerts down here for a potential reversal, which it tends to do, right? Every time that it pushes up, it gets rejected, pushes up, gets rejected, pushes up. It makes sense on why it would get rejected. So I'm going to set 2 alerts. So how do we get the support and resistance for a stock channeling up? So just to show, you must have not completed the course because it's called an ascending uptrend pattern, and you could either identify the SMA line and identify that as support, or you could learn to identify and draw out the ascending uptrend patterns. Ooh, so you guys is pulling back a little bit. You could draw it like this, right? So you cover where it normally touches with all these support lines, and then with all the resistance lines, you draw a line on where the majority of the resistance lines are at. So again, you have a better understanding with this ascending uptrend or support and resistance. Please, 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 before you start asking a bunch of questions, I need you guys to complete the entire course itself. I need you guys to do that. So MTCH showing signs of a potential resistance right around this SMA line. So yes, it is showing signs of an uptrend pattern, but this SMA line, not until it breaks above this would I even consider it to be a good even swing trade whatsoever. When it was actively trending up, it was above the SMA indicator, which is this green line. It's no longer doing that. So I would really, if you're in this one right now, I would mainly, try to cover profits closer to the SMA and wait for a more solid break about $44 to even consider the idea of swing trading something like this. Descending pattern, especially right now with ticker symbol X, I would say that this thing would continue to descend. It is trying to catch a support right now, but based on the volume like dying out as well, I would say that this thing is heading back down at $32. Okay, so pretty solid uptrend pattern, SMA line acting as a support. So it's definitely pushing up green today. Overall resistance based on previous patterns around $82. It looks like you have that already called out. Yeah, it definitely doesn't look like if you didn't get in already. If you didn't get in already for a buy around this price point, then I would kind of be iffy about getting in at these higher price points just because it tends to pull back, and that's when I would find it to be much more attractive. WTI, again, still not confirming that uptrend, still being below the EMA line. So I would set my alerts for the break above 750 and then follow up with it from that point forward. So Jake, that's a good question. So when a stock breaks the 180-day EMA line, should it be between the middle and top view up on the 1 to 1 minute, or should it be considered a good swing trade and not deal with the top or the RSI? That's definitely, like, even though when something is actively trending up on the 180-day chart, something that we always say is to look closely to the intraday patterns, and if it's all about still getting a good deal. And if you see that intraday it's like way on the top view up, it might not be the best time to buy. It might you might want to wait for a sell off and either a bounce on the middle view up to show signs of an uptrend both intraday and on the 180-day chart. So I hope that makes sense. I thought I broke down ticker symbol CY already. No, so I didn't. I think that ticker symbol CY is way overextended. I think that it's going to start to sell off, and this SMA line is going to start to act as a resistance level. I'm going to set my alert I have my alert set for the break above 17. It's too early to, I don't find it to be a good deal right now. If you look at the previous price points of where it's been, just within this general area, it would be a much better deal closer to this $14.50, $15 price point. As of right now, it doesn't look like a good deal to me. We've done WTI already. JWN. So JWN definitely showing signs of an uptrend pattern. Resistance right around 50. Overall, highs of resistance would be around $52. So as long as we keep true to this ascending uptrend pattern and stay above this EMA line, then I definitely do see potential in that idea. Also, it is approaching somewhat of a resistance right around $50, and you can see also this showing signs of a potential reversal. So take that into consideration. You might want to cover profits here and then get back in when it breaks above $50. So I hope that makes sense. Yes. So, and Aaron makes a great point. So when it comes to overall confirmation, it's not just trending above the EMA line. As you can see, there's a lot of stocks that are pushing above the EMA line, and today or yesterday might have been their first day. But what I like to focus on is overall confirmation of a continuous uptrend. So even when it pulls back, that it pulls back and bounces on that EMA line and then continues to indicate of, making lower highs. So what I mean by that is when it pulls back, it doesn't go as low as it was before, and then it makes higher highs, that it continues to staircase and make, higher highs. So I hope that makes sense. There are call outs for days, and again, today is one of the first days for the specific ticker to be breaking above the EMA line, and it just had its earnings report. I think there's a little bit too much hype out there. I would treat this more as a day trade as right now and wait for a little bit more confirmation of an uptrend pattern. The reason that I say that is check out the look at this when it was showing signs of a descending pattern, and then it pushed up and then got rejected. It took a while, right? It took almost a month for it to complete this whole-on reversal. Again, don't just think that it's all going to happen all within one day. I would treat this more as a day trade than a swing trade. You guys just broke below 62.53, pulling back. All right, so I did skip a couple of these callouts. Yeah. Definitely on the overbought side. Is not showing signs of this being a good deal. Yeah. We just talked about this one. Way overbought. LABD breaking support levels today. Wow. crazy. Overall support based on previous patterns at around $27 to $27.32. So until it reverses, then it doesn't make much sense to, buy as of right now. So Tesla. So again, Tesla is showing signs of an uptrend pattern. I would find this thing to be a much better deal, closer to the EMA line, and this is exactly what we were waiting for it to start pushing up, and then again, it pulls back, and then pushes up, pulls back, pushes up. So again, try to get in as close to as possible after it balances out around the EMA indicator for a good entry, and then understand whether potential resistance for this specific ticker can be. So the first one would be right around the SMA indicator, and then the second one would be right around $300. So Dylan, the only reason that right now I wouldn't identify Diaz to be the best, potential like day trade as of right now. I mean, it did just break above the middle VWAP, but not really. Like it broke above it, but it has to validate it, right? And if it does validate and starts to trade in between this area, then it would make much more sense. So for a day trade, one thing that I like to look for is for a sign of an uptrend pattern intraday, and that's in between the middle and top VWAP. And right now it's still a little bit too early to tell. What I think that can happen is that this thing is pushing up, but again, it's making lower highs, right? So it pushes up and it can't recover as much, pushes up, can't recover, pushes up, and it most likely can't recover, and it'll sell off again and make lower lows. That's kind of the pattern that I've been noticing with TGAS as of right now. So that's why I would kind of be on high alert. Again, this one's still pending reversal. Yeah, I wouldn't find this thing to be the best buy as of right now, just because it definitely is not a horrible buy or a horrible entry, especially if you plan to sell it around maybe $38, $39. But there's just too much consolidation happening within this area that I wouldn't find it to be, the best ticker that I can take advantage of right now. So flow, showing signs of an uptrend pattern, overall resistance right now. Again, I would set my alert at this price point. The reason why is, do you guys see this? Old support level, old resistance level. So as it pushes up, it might get rejected at around this price point. And then the overall resistance right around the SMA line as well would make me kind of want to stay away, and it's still kind of too early to tell for an overall reversal. And also, I mean, there's a high form of risk with these cup and handle patterns. Thank you, Ginny. Hope you enjoy the rest of your day. No, I mainly set my SMA 180. It's just a preference. So if you like yours to be set up at 200, then all power to you. So SOXL showing signs of an uptrend pattern. Wait, side entry point is 170. So that definitely does make sense. The only thing about this is that it's not the best deal as of right now. But based on the pattern that I see right now, around well, closer, like, yeah, never mind. It doesn't really make much sense because the EMA line is right down here at 166. So it'd make much more sense to wait for a pullback, and it tends to even sometimes pull back below the EMA indicator, and then it pushes right back up again. So you might want to reconsider that plan that you have set up. It's trending down. I'm not even going to break these down anymore. Come on, guys. I already broke down Wing as well. Wing is showing signs of an uptrend pattern, very consistent uptrend pattern, right? It has been struggling to stay up. If you don't feel comfortable with it, don't invest in it. But as of right now, I would do the average up approach. Take a small position and add more as it confirms that uptrend pattern. I already broke down FLO. Rick, you said 180 EMA and the 1 minute chart. I already answered this. So I focus more on the overall pattern on the 180-day EMA, Jake, And then intraday, just before I actually take my position, I just want to make sure that I know I'm getting a good deal with the overall big picture, which is the 180-day pattern, and I want to make sure that what's it called, intraday, that I also get a good call out. No more call outs. So after Evan, I'm not doing any more call outs. So 100% not doing any more call outs. So please make sure that you stop calling them out. And I just want to have a quick little talk because I feel like people are just throwing tickers out now without even really thinking about it. And that's like, there's no point for you to even call something out when you don't even really see value in it. Like a lot of these tickers that are being called out are not confirming the uptrend pattern. That's something that I asked you guys before the overall uptrend. I'm going to work out something with Justin, and I'm going to have him here with me next time and see if he could help me out. The reason why is because we're wasting so much time breaking down stocks that are not actively trading up. And if you're not someone that is able to wait for the confirmation and call out stocks that are waiting for the confirmation or even good deals, then it just doesn't make sense on why to even call them out. So I'm gonna have Justin or some other individual that's gonna be helping me next time before we actually do these live streams, and making sure that they filter all the comments. And if it's not a good call out, then we'll just erase it. So what's your number one stock for the day? It would have to be one currently on you guys, so it makes sense to focus on that. What's up, brother? Okay, LGIH trying to show signs of an uptrend overall. Peaking kind of SMA support, SMA resistance. So you guys see this on how this could act as an overall resistance. So make sure you take that into consideration as it approaches that at around that $66 price point, and how that can act as a form of resistance. So if it continues this uptrend pattern in the direction of the EMA line continues to point up, great. If it doesn't and then gets rejected and breaks below it, then there's a break of pattern, and then I would move away from it. NVRO again showing signs of this cup and handle pattern, pushing up very aggressively today. It doesn't look like it to be a good deal. I would wait for a little bit more of a pullback closer to the overall EMA line, as you guys can imagine, right? Yeah. We can't have that, Trent. So I mean, callouts shouldn't be allowed until you're 90 days in LPP. I mean, that can't be, because some people do enter LPP already having a pretty general understanding of what they want to invest in. They want this networking ability for these live chats. So we can't restrict everyone. It just means, so Justin, because of like the new members and stuff like that, we're getting too many people calling out stocks that are not actively trending up or that are not good deals. So what I want to try out is, I don't think you'll be able to tomorrow, but maybe we could try next week for you to be here with me. And then once I call something out, you just enter when people are calling something out for the tickers, you just enter it. And there's just two things we check: above the EMA, and is it a good deal? And we'll reference that. And then if it matches that criteria, then you'll just put it like on a sticky note for me, and we'll call it out. Okay? Because we're wasting too much time, and
you want it to be efficient for everyone.
Yeah. All right. So Wire is show, and the funny thing is, like, I've seen so many people call out so many different stocks today, and specific individuals. They're calling out so many different stocks today when, again, we're supposed to focus on our top number 1 or 2 stocks for the entire week, but yet people are calling out 2 or 3 different stocks. And I'm sure that you guys have much more in your watch list that you are watching. I just want to remind you guys that, again, it's focusing on quality. And if you're all over the place with your callouts, then it's going to be very difficult for you to have proper execution. And I'm not saying this again to be mean or to bring anyone down. It's just a reminder on how important it is to have structure with not only your trading but your preparation. And I feel like a lot of people are lacking that right now. So wire definitely showing signs of an uptrend. Looking at the overall pattern for wire, every time that it pushes up, it tends to pull back. So it would make sense on why this thing would pull back and not be the best buy right now. So as it pulls back, then that's something that I would like to follow up with to see if it would be a good entry with the overall resistance right around this SMA line, as this used to act as support, which is now acting as a new resistance. So yeah. Appreciate that. Thank you. I like that Terrence. Terrence is like, this is not a call out, but it's just stay away from SEDG. Let's check it out. Okay, yeah, definitely selling off, and it looks like we might have gotten a little bit too early in for the confirmation. I'm not too sure where you got in, Terrence. But yeah, I do agree. I'm going to set my alert for the break above $61, as that would be a little bit of a better indication for an overall uptrend. So yeah. Call TD Ameritrade. First day watching. Thanks, Ricky. What's going on, Michael? All right. This is going to be it, and then we're going to be able to call it a day. So CPG actively trending down. Yes, it is trying to show signs of an overall reversal at around this specific price point right here. But again, it's still not confirming the overall uptrend. It would have been a much better buy closer to this overall support. If you would have wanted to invest in something that's actively trending down. Right now it's more under resistance, so I would wait for more of a solid break. And it still would be a little bit more on the overextended side just because the resistance would be around this area right here. So yeah. Yeah, so Diaz right now is showing signs of a potential uptrend pattern. And if it continues and it holds, then it definitely does make sense on why it can cover this margin in between the middle and top view up. So definitely something to take into consideration. I'm going to do a little bit more due diligence on the stocks that I'm watching, and I'll post any ones that I see value in under the trade idea section for the Learn Plan Profit group, and that's going to be right here under the trade ideas. So this is where I post like what it is that I'm watching. It does not mean that any of these stocks are callouts. It just means that this is something that I'm watching closely, and that's pretty much it. So yeah, guys, and please be patient with both Justin and I. We did get yeah. So obviously we did get a good number of new students within the past like 24 or 48 hours, and obviously there's going to be a couple of new questions as they become familiar with what we expect from them within the Learn Plan Profit community. If we can please just try to just be a little bit more patient with these individuals. I'm going to be here, and so is Justin. And if you're getting annoyed by their questions, just be like, hey, if you don't mind reaching out to Justin and Ricky, as they would be more than happy to help you guys out. That's what we're here for. So for all new traders, please complete the course. Please avoid from asking a bunch of FAQs because, again, those are covered in the course. And if you complete the entire course and your question is still not answered, then that's when you can reach out to either us or the advanced traders within Learn Plan Profit and ask away. So that is really just it. Thank you guys again for everything that is that you guys do. Continue working hard, continue following your dreams, let your passion be what drives your success. I'm going to go ahead and take my medicine right now. And we talked about my mistakes for the day. I'm going to follow up with what it is that I plan on investing for the remainder of the day. If I even plan on taking a position, I definitely don't have to, right? And kind of go from there. So yesterday was a really good day. Again, we can't have those days like every single day, but it doesn't mean that we can't prepare for a good setup within the days that follow. So let's keep it simple, focus on that quality, and let's be patient, please, okay? Thank you guys again. Hope you guys all enjoy the rest of your day, and happy Wednesday. Take it easy, team. I forget I was wearing glasses. I look like a dingleberry. Take it easy, team.